Nigeria has tried to improve, rebuild, and modernize its rail system, leading to cross-country services on some lines and metro services in Lagos, Nigeria. You can now travel between Lagos and Ibadan in less than 3 hours on a fairly modern train, but you can also travel the 27-kilometer section of this line that is within Lagos as part of the Lagos metro system. I went out just for you to investigate how the Lagos-Ibadan train service coexists and survives with the Lagos Redline as they share the same track and similar infrastructure. What I learned will surprise you. Rail transport in Nigeria has a long and unfortunate history. As you might know, the first rail lines were laid by colonists from the UK. They laid this line not for the benefit of the locals, but for their benefit. These lines were primarily to transport themselves and transport raw materials to the coast for exports. As far back as 1950, colonial locomotive connected Kano and Lagos. Unfortunately, as was the case in many countries across the continent, independence came with lots of despair for the rail lines and they quickly fell into disrepair. After more than 50 years of independence, Nigeria started a quote-unquote rail revolution in the 2010s by trying to connect major cities across the country. Now in 2025, there are a handful of rail transport pockets across Nigeria. There's Lagos Ibadan, Abuja Kaduna, Warri Takpe, Port Harcourt Aba. The Lagos Red Line began operations in 2024, October 2024. But before that, old locomotives still operate on the existing rail line. And I was surprised to learn that even as recently as 2025, if you timed yourself and know when to be there, you could get a locomotive train from Agbado to Oyingbo at certain times of the day. The Lagos Red Line is currently 27 kilometers long, give or take a couple meters here and there. There are 7 terminals or stations on this line, and if you use this line in 2024 or 2025, you will learn that the rolling stock isn't like the ideal one for it, but it does the job for now. The Red Line had been in operation for less than a year at the time of this video, and we'll be looking at the project's success and impact so far. But in the meantime, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video if you're enjoying the work we're doing out here. It means a lot. Thank you as you do so. Just click the button, yes, that red button. It takes less than a second. Thank you. The Lagos-Ibadan train system covers Lagos, Ogun State, and Oyo State. The line is currently 157 kilometers, and it takes 2 hours 40 minutes to travel that distance. Feels a bit slow to me, but we'll take it. This system features standard gauge railways, and the rails are pretty standard diesel powered machine. As at the last time I used this service, which was quite recently, it featured 9 rail cars and 2 control cars at each end, so a total of 11 cabs. There are 2 stations in Lagos, one in Ibutemeta and the other in Agege, while Ogun State has 3 stations, one in Agbado, which is at the border of Lagos and Ogun, the next in Papalanto, another in Kajola, and another in Abeokuta. So that makes it 3 or 4, depending on how you choose to count it. Is Agbado in Lagos? Is it in Ogun? Or is it in Purgatory? Who knows? I would say that this line has been a success by almost every metric because it has made travel easier than ever before. You might be wondering how we came about a system whereby a national rail line and a city metro share the same infrastructure. This is not a new phenomenon, or it's not something that doesn't happen frequently. It happens in almost every country. It's an idea that just makes so much sense. How do both services survive together? As for now, the Lagos-Ibadan rail service operates twice a day, while the Lagos Red Line has less than 5 round trips every day. So for now, it's very easy for both services to avoid each other. But if a time ever comes whereby both services are operating fairly frequently, the national rail line would have the right of way. In Lagos, which is where the Red Line is, there are different terminals sharing the same infrastructure. So if you get to Agege, there is a terminal for Red Line Metro and there's a terminal for the national rail. They are side by side, so they share the same roads, access roads, and most other infrastructure. Just makes a lot of sense, but the buildings are physically different. Please consider supporting my work by joining the channel as a member. If you want something easier, you can consider gifting super thanks, or if that's a bit too much, simply subscribing and liking is the easiest way for you to support the work we do out. Thank you as you do so. The Lagos Ibadan train system, LITS, has done a fine job of connecting southwestern Nigeria, similarly to the Abuja-Kaduna line, the Warri-Itakpe line, and Port Harcourt-Aba line. But these lines are quite limited if I as a Nigerian cannot travel from Lagos to Kano or Port Harcourt to Abuja by rail. There has been talk over time about expanding the line from Ibadan to Abuja and expanding that from Kaduna to Kano, but it is a major undertaking, probably one of the most expensive undertakings if it ever goes through of the 21st century for Nigeria. For some reason, the Buhari government built a line between Kano and Maradi in Niger Republic. You and I know why, but that's a topic for another video. So technically, one day, if these pockets are connected, you'll be able to travel from Lagos to Maradi, Niger Republic by rail, and not just any rail, on fairly modern rail. I really want this to be a reality, but knowing our country, it might take a while for this to come to fruition, hopefully in our lifetime. When we talk about expansion, the Lagos Red Line doesn't want to be left out. If you've had the opportunity to go over the quote-unquote Lagos Metropolitan Master Plan, you would see that the Red Line is designed and envisioned to connect Agbado to Marina. So the phase 2 of the Lagos Red Line will be built from Oyingbo to Marina, where it will connect to the existing Lagos Blue Line. Meanwhile, there are also plans, a few concrete plans, to extend the Lagos Red Line to the Lagos International Airport, that's Murtala Mohammed International Airport. So possibly a visitor or citizen can land in Lagos Airport one day, get on the metro, connect to the Ikeja train station, and then connect to anywhere else in the city. The idea is so exciting to me, but I do not want to get overly excited because you know how things are in our country. But doesn't the idea sound nice to you? A question I've gotten asked a lot when I post video about the Lagos Red Line is, why does the train, that's the rolling stock, why does the train look like that? If you've seen any metro in most parts of the world, you can attest to the fact that the rolling stock used on the Lagos Red Line isn't the norm. The design is a bit out of place when compared to the norm that is expected from metros. According to Lamata and the Lagos State government, the rolling stock in use are currently temporary. They have plans to change them to more appropriate metro cars in the future, but a timeline has not been stated. These were actually originally bought by the US state of Wisconsin but never deployed, and I guess the Lagos state government bought them and outfitted them to be able to serve as metro trains temporarily. I'm not gonna lie, it gets the job done, but it just feels out of place in a project that promises to revolutionize and change the way things are done in a city like Lagos. It feels out of place, and I would love to see new trends, but since the timeline has not been posted, I would simply say that do not hold your breath. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, welcome to Nigeria. Politics aside, Lagos needs to get train transport right. There are currently plans in motion to build multiple metro lines across the city, and these lines cannot be built fast enough because congestion in Africa's most populous city is something else. In the same vein, Nigerians should be able to travel across our country on a reliable standard gauge railway. I should be able to say I'm going to see a friend in Abuja, or I'm going for business in Abuja, and travel by rail, by modern rail. You can watch other videos I've made on the Nigerian rail system and review videos I've made by clicking any of the links in the description. Alternatively, click the video on screen now because I made it specially for you. Until the next video, your friend from Kodo YouTube channel wishes you love, peace, and prosperity.